All right, a live look at the Dow and an early reaction ahead of those incoming reciprocal tariffs. Voters also sounding off early in our latest CBS News polls. Only 48% approve of the president's handling of the economy. 52% disapprove, and that disapproval number up from 49% on March 2nd. And then there's this. 48% say the president's policies are making the job market lose jobs. Let's bring in Colby Smith, a New York Times reporter who covers the Federal Reserve and the U.S. economy. Thank you so much for being with us, Colby. Do Americans have good reason here to be concerned about their wallets and potentially their jobs because of these tariffs?
So there's a lot of uncertainty here, and I think that's what we're seeing in a lot of these surveys that are tracking consumer sentiment. People don't know how to feel about the economy, and they don't feel certain that their economic security is strong here because every day there seems to be new policy announcements and new changes afoot when it comes to things like tariffs, immigration restrictions, things like that. And so it's not surprising that amidst this uncertainty, people have started to question whether or not our business is going to continue to hire. Are they going to continue to expand? And these are the questions that not only companies are grappling with, but also policymakers at the Federal Reserve.
And Colby, Trump aide Peter Navarro says the president's new tariffs will raise $6 trillion in federal revenue over the next decade. I want to get your reaction to that.
So it's a bit confusing because it definitely draws some questions about what exactly the intentions of these tariffs are. To have revenue figures of that amount would suggest that consumers weren't really changing their behavior. Businesses weren't bringing their operations rather, back on shore to the U.S., which would avoid those tariff charges. So it's kind of unclear exactly what the Trump administration is trying to get at here. If they want to see revenue of that level, which they say will help to fund the tax cuts that were key to Trump's campaign for the presidency, that suggests that companies aren't making the amendments that they had wanted them to see and shoring up U.S. manufacturing operations in the way in which that the president campaigned on. So it's hard to actually get a sense of where they're coming from with these figures. In fact, you would think that they would want to see them on the lower end. Mm-hmm. That would mean that more companies were coming on shore. But again, this just shows that there's a lot of moving parts here, and it's not yet clear what the extent of these tariffs are going to be and how businesses are indeed going to respond.
All right, New York Times reporter Colby Smith, thank you so much, Colby.